Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome 27 North Albury Football and Netball Club Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Don Ross.
I'm a bit nervous, but I'd like to thank Tim Petts and Rod Malavi for putting on that. I was sitting there and I thought I was 21 again. Coming here tonight, I've met that many people and I knew their faces but I couldn't remember their names. But what I do remember is my very first association with North Albury. I was going to Albury High School and the sports master there was playing for North Albury. And he took me down to the sports ground. Back in those days, the North Albury Football Club shared the sports ground with Albury because there was no Bunton Park. And he introduced me to Couchet, and I had the pleasure of watching him play. And the next year, I was playing for North Albury. But while I was down there training, all I ever wanted to do was to play for North Albury. The first year, it goes back 70 years. It was 70 years, I was working it out today, it was 70 years when I went down and met Couchet. So I go back a long way. But I was playing for North Albury, I think I was 16, and I can remember my first game. It was down at Yarrawonga. And Marty McDonald had come up to Yarrawonga. He came up from Footscray and he was coaching Yarrawonga. And in the first or second quarter, he just flattened one of the North Albury players. Flattened, his nose was all over his face, there was blood everywhere, and I thought, oh shit, I'd never seen anything like this before because I'd only ever played at school. And I thought to myself, I better go and tell Marty who I am. So at half time, I walked off and I walked up to Marty McDonald and I said, Mr. McDonald, my name's Don Ross and I just signed up with Footscray. And I was just waiting for a pat on the head or a pat on the back or so, well done, son. And all I got was, piss off. But the 50s and the 60s, it was a great time to play football. I don't think anybody in the room here could probably remember back then, but you know, it was really a day out. There was no television. If you wanted to see a game of football, well, you had to go. And I can remember back in the late 40s and early 50s, the Albury City Band used to march down Dean Street, down to the Albury Oval and play before the game, and then they'd play at half time. So, you know, it was a really good time to play football. And the standard of football was really good because every club back then in the O&M had a Melbourne player come up and play and coach them. So, you know, if you always had somebody to go. They were drawing big crowds at the time. Some of the biggest names in Melbourne were up here in the 50s and the 60s. I can remember Bobby Rose came up here and he was coaching Wang Rovers, went back, coached Collingwood. Billy Stevens came up here from Fitzroy, coached Yarrawonga, went back, coached Fitzroy. Murray Wiedemann came up, coached Albury, went back and coached Collingwood. So all the big names are up here and it was a great time. And as far as crowds go, well, I think in my time, I don't think I've seen better crowds at the football than what there was in the 50s and the 60s when I played. I can remember one grand final down at the sports ground. There were 16,000 people there. And I can see a few people scratching their head. How did they fit 16,000 people into a sports ground? Well, I'll tell you. There was a bike track around the ground then, and people used to take chairs or whatever to sit on, and they'd go out onto the bike track and sit there. And this particular year, the North Albury Football Club got a truckload of fruit boxes from Arnold's. And as the people came through the gate, we sold them. And these people took them out onto the bike track and sat on them. So that's how they that's how they fitted 16,000 people into the thing there. So I'm not going to stay up here like Turkey and bloody talk all night. I've got a long list of people here that I'd probably want to thank, but Jesus, they're nearly all dead, so I'm not going to try and tell them. But I'm glad I played football. It teaches one a lesson in life. You learn how to win gracefully and accept defeat with dignity. Also, you embrace many friendships that one makes with the teammates. I'll just have to blow my nose. You made me do this, Turkey. You made me upset me. Talking about the friendships. When I came back from Melbourne and played with North Albury, there was a fellow there, his vice captain, North Albury, and his name was Billy Stagg. And we became good friends, Bill and I. And that friendship has lasted for 60 years. So that's the sort of friendship you can make by playing football. And Billy's sitting down there with me. Well, you can win premierships and you can win trophies, but to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, well, I don't think it gets any better than that. I thank you.